Okay, so now on to the other kind of big story or big topic, responsibility. So I mentioned in a reel I made a while back, or actually no, I think it was a video, a regular video, and I mentioned the drunk of fiat. And somebody asked me like, hey, you should probably, kind of slow down and explain some of these things a little more clearly because I don't know what you mean by drunk of fiat, and I don't think most people do. And I was like, you know what, you're right. Probably most people do not just know what that means if somebody mentioned it in casual conversation. So I'm going to break it down. What is the drunk of fiat? So as you may or may not know, in the creation of the US dollar, on its way to being a fiat currency, taking us away from hard money, gold, which was very hard money, they had to confiscate everybody's gold and then sell it back to them at a higher price. Probably one of the most unconstitutional, immoral things, disgusting things that's ever happened in the history of the United States because of what it's led to and what it has enabled, if you look at the downwind effects of all of it. So there is a trade-off. Okay, when you have hard money, it's on you. All right, Bitcoin's a hard money. Gold's a hard money. Even silver's a hard money. But if you are in possession of it, it is your responsibility to stay in possession of it and prevent anyone else from possessing it from you by acts of violence, force, coercion, etc. This is not really the case with fiat. With fiat, it's kind of really hard to steal it from somebody because nobody keeps it in a briefcase under their bed. Because the responsibility on the individual to protect that money has been kind of lifted or externalized into other apparatuses, particularly the banks, which are by the way, all banks are extensions of the central bank. So individuals in this country have become accustomed to the drunk of fiat. That's what I mean by the drunk. It's a lack of responsibility. It's a lack of consequences or having to deal with the consequences of not having a hard money. And they become drunk on this. And so the process of switching back to a hard money from fiat is going to be a lot like a hangover. It's going to be a lot like sobering up and dealing with the crushing headache from drinking, 20 ounces of love spirits a day for 100 years or more. Now I think we're at like 110 years, something like that. So that's going to be one hell of a cumulative hangover that's likely to kill a lot of people because now, oh my God, I'm got to be responsible for my money. And I don't know the first thing about Bitcoin. I don't know the first thing about blockchain. I don't know the first thing about cryptography. I don't know what a key is. I don't know what a seed phrase is. Where is my Bitcoin anyway? It's going to be one hell of a hangover for this country when the dollar does ultimately collapse and Bitcoin is there to save everybody, but nobody knows how to do a thing. That's one of the reasons why I'm building this business, my COSATOSHI store. Because what I want to do is, number one, educate, elucidate, and I want to give people an on-ramp to Bitcoin so that they can at least know how it works and how to use it before everything topples down and before the debt spirals out of control and just absolutely obliterates the dollar, and not only the dollar, but every other fiat, which is essentially layer 2 tokens on top of the dollar all across the world. It's going to be massive. It's going to be huge. It's not a question of if, it's just a question of when. Before the dollar, it was the British pound, and before the British pound, it was the Danish yank or whatever the hell it was called. I don't even know. And so empires fall, and we are clearly on the decline. It's just so obvious, So that's what I mean by the drunk of fiat. And that's what I mean about the trade-off of the responsibility between fiat and hard money. You do not, with hard money, if, let's talk about Bitcoin. If somebody takes your Bitcoin or steals it, you're done. There's nothing you can do to get it back except ask and beg to have it back. And are you going to put your faith in that one? I'm not, so I'm not going to I'm going to make sure that nobody can steal my shit. And, that's why I've spent so much time and energy in researching these things, learning about these things, not only for me, but for you too, because I want you to be able to do the same thing. And that's why I'm building this business. But you got to take the time. You got to, you have to make up for the lack of public education, which is a state government apparatus that wants you to be ignorant on the issue of money, wants you to not understand that your acquiescence into fiat currency is what is funding infinite war and death all over the world. and making all the insiders that are close to the faucet, the money faucet, rich, while everybody else pays the price. They all pay the price of having higher prices, but not getting to have any of that money fresh off the faucet. And so, public education. So, there, I said it.